15. I will do it. It's your 13 to 8 favourite here for Sam Thomas and Charlie Deutsch. Let's get added 7 to 2, Ballyholme 4 to 1. And you can see why they've got him out under a penalty, this favourite, David.
Yes, though I think this is a stronger race than the one he won at Bangor, and he was well placed in a race that was running at an ordinary gallop. But the market did expect that improvement, and he did win with something in hand, so it's understandable that they're getting him out under a penalty. I think he's too short myself, but I could certainly see him winning again. But I couldn't exactly plump down on one of the 5 behind him in the market, who I think are all of interest in different ways.
Right. And Ballyholme has got Conor Brace on board with 12 stone, claiming what it genuinely is a good 70. I suppose he's still low enough mileage with this yard.
Yes, and last time out he was beaten by a couple of really stout stayers in testing ground at Haydock. It'll be less of a slog here. Time of the first race difficult to interpret because they went so steadily in the early stages, but it was still a pretty slow time. So I suspect there is quite a bit of good to soft about the ground there this afternoon, but it shouldn't be as much of a slog as last time for Ballyholme.
And let's get at it. We know he's happy at this track.
Yes, and he is now stepping up in trip, having won here over 2 miles 5 and a bit. Couple of horses behind him that day have come out and boosted the form, and I think this trip will suit him, so I certainly thought he was a player off his new mark.
Wakefield makes his handicap debut of 109.
Yes, he's I mean, he was very well backed first time he ran in a bumper and didn't deliver, and he's shaped well both starts over hurdles really, and now goes handicapping after just 2 runs over hurdles, and I think his mark looks okay, and I think he's definitely got potential. He was a 90,000 buy out of the pointing field, so I know that doesn't always mean much, but he's got a bit of pedigree to go with the point win, so I think there is definitely better to come from him at some stage.
Okay. He's 8 to 1, 10 to 1 brings in Ballyart, who again's got 12 stone, but Jordan Naylor easing that burden with a £7 claim. Yes,
he has ridden the horse in the past. His best run came at Chepstow in a race that was a real slog, grinding on to go down by a head to Trickster. He didn't confirm that form next time at Ascot. It may be that the Chepstow run took quite a lot out of him, and he's had about nearly a month off since then.
Okay.
I think Almost Gold's an interesting runner. I know the race that he won wasn't much of a race, but I think even on his earlier Hereford form when he was 3rd, I think that's a piece of form that suggests he's on a good mark, and I think this less testing ground than last time will suit him. So I thought he had possibilities as well.
Right. Gone post time, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much longer. They're a bit late getting down there. Yeah, they're coming out on the racecourse proper now for this Manchester Bet handicap hurdle. 2 miles 7 furlongs is the trip. The tape is pulled across, so hopefully we're not too far away from the start after this. We'll be straight back to Ludlow. But let's get back to Market Rasen and rejoin Gareth for the call.
Thank you, Niall. Yeah, the wind just picking up a little bit here, and it's going to be blowing in their faces in the home straight. You noticed in that first race, maybe the first 2 were just miles superior to the rest, but he was rolling a bit of a heap in behind and looking somewhat tired, so wind certainly putting more an emphasis on stamina at the home straight here today. But they're about to line up for our second race. Runners then coming forward. Starter up on the rostrum. Flags are raised. And they're off. for the Mansion Bet handicap hurdle. They've got 2 miles and 7 furlongs in front of them, and they will jump at 12 flights. Ballyart is away well. The yellow cap away to the right as we look on down the course, along with up in between horses I Will Do It, and along the inside Loch Linney as they come to take off at flight at number 1. And it was Loch Linney who held the overall advantage from Ballyart and the favourite I Will Do It, the black with the green diamonds. And then over towards the inside is Wakefield as they pick up at hurdle number 2. With back in behind the leading quartet at Ballyhome, who's in black and orange colours, black and brown of Almost Gold, and then a 3-length break back to Let's Get At It, who's at the rear end of the field with only Pershing Missile behind. Around about 9 or 10 lengths covering first to last then as they head on down past the enclosures for the first of 3 times, and they've now 2 further circuits remaining. It is Loch Linney in the hands of Ross Chapman showing out in front. Back over hurdles today, Loch Linney to Ballyart, a point-to-point winner. That one just trapped a little deeper out of the recent Bangor on D scorer I Will Do It. With Wakefield over to the inside at the red sleeves. Further back then to Ballyhome and Almost Gold, a couple of lengths away to Let's Get At It, and the back marker is Pershing Missile as they now square up to the first of the 3 flights going down the far side. Leader jumping well there. At the back end of the field, Pershing Missile rather backed off that hurdle somewhat and lost a few lengths on the other runners. Ballyart up at the head of affairs was also a little bit sluggish at it, but on the flat in between flights makes up the ground that he lost and is only a half length off at the leader Loch Linney on taking the middle of the 3 flights going down the back, but again wasn't half as fast as the leader. Pressing on now towards flight at number 5, and it is Loch Linney who's going to jump this in front. Having more of a cut at that hurdle to the outside Ballyart. Looked as if Wakefield was the one who flattened the segment of the obstacle which he took, but no great harm done, as they shortly will be leaving the back straight behind them for the first time. So Loch Linney remains ahead over Ballyart, and I Will Do It, who's nicely poised in behind the leading duo, that one lying in third. Wakefield and Almost Gold are side by side, 4th and 5th, a couple of lengths away to Ballyhome. And then Let's Get At It for the Ollie Murphy stable, who had the first race winner here. Gavin Sheehan on board. Let's Get At It, who was a winner here last time out, but over a shorter trip. And the back marker a little wider out is Pershing Missile, who has caught up the ground that he lost at one of the hurdles going down the far side. So into the home straight they come, passing the 3 marker once again, but of course still over a circuit left to travel in this Mansion Bet handicap hurdle. And it is Loch Linney by around about a length or so to Ballyart in second, with I Will Do It in third place on crossing this one, and just clipping the top of it as well there, I Will Do It, with Wakefield next, and then follows Almost Gold from Ballyhome, Let's Get At It, and Pershing Missile as they flick on over the hurdle, which will be the last next time round. So they're all still going as they gallop down in front of the enclosures, and up ahead it continues to be Loch Linney at a big price here. Loch Linney 2 in second place, Ballyart, and then I Will Do It, who's travelled nicely throughout under Charlie Deutsch, with running next at Wakefield over towards the inside of Almost Gold. Then Ballyhome as they just group together a little bit more now. Pershing Missile has passed 1 and has relegated Let's Get At It to be the overall back marker. And possibly fair to say that on the turn, Let's Get At It was just nudged along and not travelling quite as well as those who precede him, as they now venture on out towards the far side of the track. So it is Loch Linney with just over a mile left to travel. In second place on the outside at Ballyart, who's never been too far away and is now mildly applying some pressure to this leader, and out-jumped him there, going over that first hurdle down the back. So Ballyart is now ahead to Loch Linney, with I Will Do It a close-up in third, only 3/4 of a length or so off the leader, with back in behind them Wakefield, and then Almost Gold from Ballyhome, 3 lengths away to Let's Get At It, as they come to jump another, and the back marker to take it was Pershing Missile, who not for the first time in this race was rather slow, and they now race on towards the 3rd flight from home, still a long way from the end, and up ahead, coming through now, I Will Do It to join at Ballyart and along the inside Loch Linney, but neither I Will Do It or Ballyart were that fluent. Ballyhome is travelling nicely in black and orange colours. Further back then to Wakefield, the red sleeves, who at this stage is in behind an impregnable wall of horses, but is travelling all right. Almost Gold is wider out of that one. 3 lengths away to Let's Get At It, who's making quite heavy weather of things as they now turn right-handed out of the back straight, and a long gap then back to Pershing Missile as they leave the back straight behind them and make the journey on towards home. A gallant effort up ahead here from Loch Linney, but I Will Do It on the outside is looking menacing, with up in behind them Wakefield towards the inside of Ballyhome, deeper out on the track to Bally Art, and then Almost Gold and Let's Get At It, who's beginning to stay on a little bit right down the outside, the horse in the sheepskin noseband, and it looks a pretty wide open contest here, making the run down towards the second last. Still Wakefield appears to be short of racing room, now switches right over towards the inside of Loch Linney, who's giving it his all, but it's Ballyhome who's going to rise in front at 2 out. Ballyhome, who's travelled well throughout, with Wakefield now produced. He has some daylight along the inside, and Wakefield quickens here under Brian Hughes to take the lead narrowly at the last. In second place is Ballyhome, the two of them quickly coming clear of Loch Linney, who's run well in third. A furlong on the flat left to go. It's Wakefield, who had to sit and suffer for a long time. He's in front with 75 yards left to gallop. In second place is Ballyhome, who can't get back on terms, and Wakefield, a point-to-point winner, is now a winner under rules. Second place Ballyhome. It's going to be close for the Miners in behind those. A gallant Loch Linney, who gave it his all from the front along the inside of Almost Gold.
Yeah, in his handicap debut of a mark of under 9, he has won, and won nicely. Wakefield, in the colours of Phil and Julie Martin, Brian Ellison and Brian Hughes combining to beat Ballyhome. Now,